Oh, chat! This is chaotic! I forgot to check if this is working. Is this working? Okay. Very cursed. Sound behind me? Ignore it! Very cursed. I also realized recently, I did not save that Minecraft thing we did. Minecraft. Skin over. Please! No, it's not you. Please tell me I saved it. I don't think I saved it. Uh-oh. I just realized I did not save the Minecraft skin. What the frick is this thing? I hate it. I don't know what it is, but I don't like it. Okay. You? Oh, I did save it. No shot, I saved it. Okay, we're safe. We're safe for now. Red spawn, what the f- Okay, so, also here. So, we changed this to curse Minecraft skin. Oh, wait, oh, okay. No question. I did something. So, oh wait, shit, wait. So, hi Gal, how are you doing? I did stupid things. So, hi. Okay, so apparently, few update things that have happened so far. I have been a busy lad. Yeah, okay, so shut up. I'm not gonna update my app. We're still time. Okay, so I did stupid things. How do you upload? Yes. Just image. Downloads. Yes. Okay. Yes. Let's go. So apparently, I forgot to do things on the skin that I said I was going to do, but I decided, yeah, I'm bored. Okay, so I really do like this. Oh my gosh, Forever's lore. We have so many things to talk about. Okay, I don't know how loud this is, but we're gonna turn it down a little bit. Okay. So, oh my gosh, Forever's lore happened. I'm sad. What the? Who let that man pop off? Who let him pop off? He was insane. The Forever. Okay, don't. You need. Stop whatever you're doing. Go watch the Forever lore right now. Oh my gosh, the Forever lore stream that happened. Haha. He was insane. Who let that man pop off? No. What do we do? Okay. Okay, fine. After my stream, you need to go watch it. It's so good. It's so freaking good. Oh my gosh, he was so pumped up. I watched Forever's POV. Oh my gosh, what the? That man was crazy. He had Twitch. Don't come for me. This is me talking about cool thing that happened in server, not IRL. So anyway, he took the eggs. And he shot bombs to all of them. It was so cool. And then he had to, and then like Tubbo bad. Pierre and Baggy had to go after him. Foolish even showed up later and had to go after him. Cucurucho showed up and freaking bopped his ass into the freaking prison. It was, oh, it was so chaotic. It was so chaotic. And like there was at even a point in time where he almost and he had like a detonator thing where he almost pressed it to blow up all the eggs, and like Bat had like a 5 second reaction to freaking bop it. Whoa! The freaking just oh, it was so awesome. I forgot we did this. Oh wait, we need to make my heart. We need to make my little. For those who don't know. Oh, I forgot I did that. Yo. Yeah, we need to change this because it looks like I'm gonna put pants on me. Well, I have pants on, but they don't look weird. We need to pull up images. Just downloaded recently, so actually I can just pull it up from downloads. You? Nope. You? Nope. Can't be you. Nope. Nope. Eh. Photos. Where is it? Brr. Whatever. Okay. Here, just pull it up. Oh my gosh. I didn't even do anything. It's priceless. It's gonna be content. Nope, it's not gonna be content. It's gonna be settings, channel, brand. I should look at it. Damn it! I pull it up. Forgot how I made the pants. I think I made them cool. I was making it cool. I'm gonna look at it. Okay. You guys can see me, right? Okay, good. Hey, I'm making one right up. Let's go. Oh, I was working on. Yeah, I was working on your art. It was so freaking. I'm almost so much of character design. I'm literally just coloring and everything and like adding details. And then I could actually start on my starting soon screen and my ending soon screen and my BRB screen that I've been meaning to work on, but I just wasn't pulling it off because I'm like that. 2024 is going to be me actually doing non-curse setup. Scary. Come on, load. I need. Yes. It took 500 years for this to load in, but it's fine. But this is what we need to work on. Wow, I made him right color! So, yeah, you can see boots. Ooh, I should. That would be cool. I'll make you one later. Because this is going to be a short stream. So I'm realizing now I gotta go on like 30 minutes. Oh, don't pay me! No. No payment. Enough. Okay, good. Okay. That. Oh, I forgot I made that thing a part of it. Oh my gosh, Gal Forever has currently left his is currently MIA on the on QSMP because he's currently working on another project. But oh my gosh, did his final horse stream go off with him? Ugh. Oh, Sage. Oh my gosh, what is happening with my voice cracks today? Is my voice deepening? Oh gosh. That would be chaotic. Oh my gosh. Voice crack city. Probably because I haven't been talking much today. I'm gonna make this like little patches. So much purple and blue. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. So what we're just gonna work on is gonna be the head, the hair, and then the head, and then we're gonna input it into Minecraft. Load up Minecraft, see how much we like it. Okay. Okay. Oh, that you weren't here when I said it. Okay, so what do you mean? Why am I purple? Talking about this thing. This is a glitch. Remember, we need to make it green. That was my thing afterwards. I was like, I want to make that green. Um. So currently, there is a machine in the room that's making something. So I can So it's making lots of noise. So if you hear, so like if I'm silent, I'm high pitched. Why am I high pitched? What do you mean I'm high pitched? Am I high pitched? Am I high pitched? No. What do you mean? What do you mean? No. I'm also having currently. I have very scuffed headphones on. But the normal ones, I think they got thrown out. So currently, why is it right in the car skid? Let's go. Okay. I'm high pitched. I'm not purple. I'm not purple. Do I like? Which one do I like? I don't like the dark. That looks better. I like that color. Not purple. I am thinking of switching the red to green though, to make it look cooler. What basketball thing? Oh, the basketball thing you've been talking about on Discord. Sure. Often call later. You need muscle. Oh, you need IRL. Oh, no. Sorry, I gotta sleep. I have to go to a hiking thing at like 8 in the morning. But it's fine. My good friend is gonna be there. It's gonna be leading the thing. It's gonna be awesome. 10 mile. I get to go. Nah, I'm good. It's fine. Nah. Okay. Oh, that's cool. It looks like my pants are ripped though. Do 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 do. Nope. Okay. Boop. What do you mean boop? Nope. boop my Minecraft character. It's still being built. It's being built in the machine behind me. That's what it's for. Anyway, I read that as Snoop. I have a small problem. I can't read. Okay, let's go here. I'm really annoyed about this here, but honestly, I couldn't care. Come on, this one. Oh shit. Ah! Don't poop my nose. No! I touched something. Okay. Oh, so I have to do this. Okay. Kinda wanna make it look glitched out. Hey! Thank you for the honey. Switching too much stats today. Okay. I wanna make this kinda look glitched out a little bit. Nope, wrong color. Bro. Oh yeah, fun fact. Hey Gal, guess who lost their Duolingo streak? Because they were cleaning on Christmas and they forgot to do the streak thing. Oopsie. My defense, I was cleaning. It was Christmas. It was on my mind. That looks weird. Later. Starting 2024 off with new hairstyle. Very cursed new hairstyle, but cursed nonetheless. New hairstyle. No, oh my gosh, I can't speak. Landlord skin. Ah, that sounds kind of cool. Like, that sounds kind of cool, actually. I actually did have that idea. Like, it's honestly just gonna be me looking like I want to do. Like, so that's all it's gonna be really. Maybe like normal skin, this skin. Well, would you count this as my normal skin, or would you count this as my like? Oh gosh, something's happened. Skin. Normal. Hmm. Good idea. I'm just doing a curse design now. Ah! Eh. Do we like it? Do we like it? I want to change the red to green, honestly. That's just my point. I want to change it from red to green. It's Christmas time, baby. Woo! Green. Up, up. That looks cursed. So incredibly cursed. Why is it green? Because it's supposed to look like glitched out. And like, here, glitch effect. Like, majority of the time, it's like glitches is like green. Well, to me, it's like green and like a spread of like red and purple. That's how it is to me. So it's just like, green. What? What did I do? What have I done? Oh, let's move. Ah! Oh, forgot about the legs. Hee You can get back to red. Here. That's red. That's green. Red, green. Red, green. Red, green. Red, green. Red, green. Okay. Heads red, tails green. Which one shall it be? Boop. Set! I forgot which one I made it. We're gonna go with red. Should I implement like a little bit of green? Okay, yeah, no, I'm deleting it. I'll leave it. It'll just look like I have like a big wound on my face. We're gonna keep it. This one's a lot more colorful than my last one. Find it funny. Okay. Okay. Nope. Save. Download skin. Cool. Minecraft. Browse. Yay. Open. Oh yeah, there's just two freaking. Hold up. Hold up. What? Never mind. No. I don't know why those two spots are there, but oh well. Okay. Nope. What do we want? Okay. Working here? No, you're not. Okay. Skinner. See, use. Oh my gosh, the difference of these two skits. We forgot the heart again! I swear. We need my rainbow heart. Heart. I'll make it probably later. Because I shall be busy. So we need yellow. Yeah, looks fine. Or we could just do. Hmm. Chain, contraptions, make weird sounds. That's fine. Okay, so it's red, middle, and then red in the middle, and it's orange, then it's yellow, it's green, it's blue, and it's purple. One second, I forgot my heart. Very vital thing you need. Now I gotta mess with it so I actually can see it. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna download both of them and then we're gonna see which one I like more. Nope. Fine, we'll do this. Okay, so what I did was I added in the heart that I forgot. And so either it could be like this or nope, or damn it. Or it's gonna be like this. So it's either gonna be like this or we're gonna go back to the first one. Which is just uh something like this. So it's gonna be like this, or it's gonna be like this. I'm so sorry, madam. My apologies. my apologies of my voice being very dreadful to listen to. Did not mean to. Okay, so it's either gonna be like this or it's gonna be like this. Okay. Uh, think it like this. Let's consider this. Yay. Okay. Now you guys get to chill on the beginning soon screen while I set up more. No, no, no. There it is. Straight up. Hold up. What the fuck is this, man? Okay. Yeah. True. True, true, true. No one knows what you're saying when you say that, which I find hilarious. Anyway, um, the reason I got very confused for a second was because I looked over at Selbit's freaking live thing and it says Sexta de do meno me nido. And I was so confused. I was like, what? Apparently, why? Look at the moon! Look at it! Shut! Look! Oh, yeah. Oh, why it's taking 500 years to load? Let's see when it crashes. It's gonna crash. How long until it crashes? No, McCoy! It's not the end! Ah, Klein! And not the end! Ah! Ah! Scary. Skin. Nope. What? Look at me! Look how cool I look! Oh, we need to take off the backpack. Backpack is standing taken off. Oh, we need light. Wow! Oh my gosh, we need to look at this beauty. Oh, look at me! Oh, look at me. I look amazing. See my heart, you can see the wings. Oh, they go in perfectly with the skin. It's so much brighter. This is kind of what the skin was supposed to look like, but instead we got that craziness. So now 2024 started off strong with this chaos. Yay. Oh, look at the pants. Look at the freaking. Oh, the shoes. Shoes the same because I'm lazy. Ah, I love it. And you can see like if the gloves designs and like the eyes and the hair and the freaking random thing I have on my cheek. We don't talk about that. It's the glitch. Just a glitch. Oh, look at my hand. Let's go. Okay. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, like I said, I have no headphones on, and for some reason they're making everything echoey. So it's like I just heard an echo. Okay, well there. Okay, so I think we're gonna log off actually. I have to go sleep. Go sleep. Echo. Echo. So everything sounds like echo currently. So yeah. Most likely be streaming tomorrow, so it should be fine. Tomorrow, if I don't stream, I'm cleaning. Because literally that's what I've been doing for like the past 2 days. Like since Christmas. Let's see. Oh, like yeah, it's darkness because we turned off the night vision. See this thing. So it's really night out. But so my plan. Oh, I love it so much. So my plan is that I'm probably gonna stay. Yes. So my plan is that I'm planning on streaming tomorrow, and then Sunday, and then yeah, and then it's 2024. So yeah, 2024. I have some things already lined up that I want to do, and that's gonna be a lot more YouTube, and streaming. Is what I want to do. I want to do. I have a bunch of things planned. Yeah, you're gonna know like 2 of the things. You're never gonna learn about any of the rest. No, I'm joking. Gal, you'll probably learn about them. I'll probably tell you about them later. Um, yes, you get a New Year's Eve stream. So yeah, and then oh, there's the sun shining. So yeah, you'll get that, and then few more things planned, and then yeah. So if I don't stream tomorrow, I'm cleaning, and I'm probably tired from my head. I will probably be streaming Sunday. If I don't stream Sunday, I'll see you in 2024. Okay. Say something like, I cannot understand you. You must understand. I am, I am waking up at 8 or 6 in the morning. I don't know when, but I'm waking up early. Nah. Oh, look at that sunrise. Okay. I really like this place. It's so pretty. So pretty. Okay. I'll see you guys. Wait, why do you have to have the cool song on? I don't know. Okay, what time is it? Oh, we've been streaming for like an hour. Yeah, I have to too. Yes, we have to go. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching this chaos. I was literally just editing my Minecraft skin, and then, so yeah. See you guys tomorrow. Like I said, if I don't see you tomorrow, then I see you. I see you guys someday, and then yeah. Okay. But yeah. Bye. Hopefully not as much as Kirsch headphones. Hopefully we'll get actual headphones next time because these are so cursed. Great, but yeah, see ya. I'm gonna mute up. You guys got like 2 minutes, minute. Yeah, bye, bod watchers. I see you. I see you out there. I see you. You can't hide. Bye, god watchers. Bye. Okay, bye. Bye. I'm gonna mute up. You guys got like minute and a half, and then yeah. See ya. Bye. Bye. Also say hi to YouTube. This is getting uploaded onto YouTube. Hi YouTube, hi pod watchers. Bye, I'm gonna mute up. You guys got like a minute of just music. See ya. See ya. Bye.